Hey guys, Danny here at Partey. Apologize that I wasn't able to make it into Crow's Q&A session. We had kind of chatted back and forth, and I know that Crow was going to set something up, so we'll get that set up so that we can have that conversation. Crow, I'll be reaching out to you a little later this afternoon. I got just a couple of minutes to come out here real quick. I figured I'd touch on this because I saw Ken's video last night. I just want to address a couple of things in there. One, Ken, the videos that you were alluding to of somebody not liking me, I mean, I'm truly embarrassed for that. Just, that's horrible, isn't it? But the truth is that we know exactly who that is. That's an old cohort of yours from 2 years ago. And anyone who would go out there and look would see that it was a channel that had 7 videos, like 7 total videos. All of them about Partey, and they were none of them, not one, Ken, was around a product review. They were just clips, excerpts from my videos. And then even worse, what they did is they took the video and they washed the video out. Not just like the screens, like Photoshop, and they washed the whole video out. It becomes immediately apparent that they've jacked up the brightness and jacked down the contrast in that video. It just looks all completely washed out. So just a bunch of fraud stuff. And like I said, we know who that was. That was from 2 years ago. So fail. It did not work. And you got to ask yourself this, right? So they came out, they made about 7 videos, and it didn't stick, right? It didn't work. It didn't have the effect that they had hoped for. Why is that? Because it was all bullshit. So once again, a big fail. Here's another big fail. I did happen to chime in early this morning, and I saw where, this is ironic, you had a 4,000 or to 5,000 lumen projector from about 8 to 9 feet away at most, shining a 40-inch image, a cookie cutter image on a piece of acrylic, 40 inches, with 4,000 to 5,000 lumens from about 8 to 9 feet away. Cookie cutter image. Cookie cutter. Cookie cutter. Using a product that takes multiple layers. Multiple layers. So I guess, you forgot to tell your customers that they're going to have to wash out their cannons or have 4 cannons there, or either wash out their roller or have 4 rollers there. Right? See, that's the kind of bullshit games that you play, and then you turn around and do something that idiotic and just show what what level of an imbecile that you are. But here's a key one. I liked your little John Boy statement. And anybody who heard it, you heard the way that he said it. There's an undertone there. So I think that there's something more meant there than just trying to insult me. I think you've got some issues on your side, Mr. Bird, with certain types of people. But let me just say this, and I'll approach the John Boy, because the statement was John Boy on the farm. So let's talk about that. Now, I watched the Waltons growing up with my family. We watched it together. As a matter of fact, I would say the world could do better to have some more shows like that out in this day and time, instead of all the shows about children that are leading the household. But that's just a personal opinion of mine. But the reality is that John Boy, the character, and Earl Hamner, the actual guy that the character was written by and basically portrayed, were both, from a character perspective and a real person perspective, highly intelligent, trustworthy, loyal, honest, kind, and not afraid to throw a punch whenever the time was appropriate to defend something. And see, Mr. Bird, I thank you for that, because that describes what I strive for every day. Once again, the irony is that none of that describes you. There's not one of those aspects that anyone would attribute to you. Yours would be more like nasty, disgusting, toothless, butt crackable, shifty, scammy, fraudy, liar. Those are the things that go along with your reputation. But really what you're trying to get at there is a setup. Now, you've seen my videos. I know you try to pretend you don't, because here's the thing. Either you don't know enough about me to speak intelligently, which just goes to show you don't do marketing research, and that would be bad enough, because whether or not you want to admit it, I am most definitely your competitor. From my perspective, you're not even close to a competitor, but from yours, I am most definitely a competitor. But the other thing is, if you're not unknowledgeable, then that just means you're lying. And I think that's more close to the truth. You're just a toothless, fat-lipped liar. But that whole statement was really meant to be a setup, because when you look around here, do you see any cows or chickens or anything like that? No. You remember you mentioned that 4,000 square foot home on 6 acres? Well, you pretty much just described my property. And I'm sitting here sipping on some tea, like you talked about, but never did. But it's not a farm. None of these are farms around me. Some people around here cultivate hay, and the reason for that is because this is an equestrian center on the northern end of Greenville, the city. We're literally about 10 minutes from the major distribution thoroughfare here in the south. Travels all the way from Maine to Atlanta, Georgia. So I know where you think you're going with this farm thing, trying to make it sound like I'm way out in the middle of Montana, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. That's not the case. I just happen to buy property in an equestrian area because the property out here holds its value and increases in value very quickly. As a matter of fact, any of you guys, I know a lot of people don't follow this stuff. I don't follow it, but we were, in the middle of it whenever it happened. But they have a major annual steeplechase just about 10 minutes that way in a town called Tryon. People were paying thousands of dollars per night for Airbnb stuff to come down here and be a part of that. It's a big horse area, because I know you don't know what the word equestrian means, Mr. Burke. People around here raise horses. I don't. I have 2 dogs and a cat, so I saw the animals that I need, other than there's fish down there in the pond, but I don't consider me owning them. But this is a big horse area. But it doesn't mean that we live in the middle of nowhere. As a matter of fact, Glassy Mountain is just that way, about 7 minutes away. And if they still own them, I don't know, but Oprah and Michael Jordan both had homes up there. So whether or not they're still there or not, I don't know. We don't talk on a weekly basis. But either way, this is not out in the middle of nowhere. So I know what you're trying to do, and we're going to talk about it when we do the live stream with Crow, but it ain't going to help you. And I want you guys to think about this. When he was talking about the documentation he wanted to see from me, he was being very specific, right? I want to see this, the money going into my account, and this, the money going back to your account. That wasn't unintentional. It's because that's not the way that it went down. He declined the order before it ever even went through. We'll talk more about what all happened with that when we do the live stream, but it's not going to work, Ken. I know you think you're being cute, but people aren't stupid. You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to shame me because I've done nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed of. But what I am going to do for you, because I'm a giver, Mr. Berg. Now, if you need some clothes, because I think you're in desperate need of clothes, I'll be glad to take some out of our charity center and ship up your way, so you got something to put on that hasn't been stinking for about 4 or 5 days. But on top of that, when I get your product, I am going to share with the world just how wonderful it is. I'm going to do that for you. But not just me. I'm going to share it with other people so that they can share with their audience. And it's not going to be just one person, it's going to be a few where they can share with their audience just how wonderful your black mud is. Here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. You obviously thought that you were going to embarrass me in some way again. But my subscriber count actually went up quite a bit over the past couple of days. So it just goes to show, this kind of stuff is never going to do anything but backfire on you. And I'm just going to embarrass you. Share it with the world. So, good luck. All right, you guys take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.